keep in mind that I am not a serious author yet. I haven't published any books. I'm just a gal that likes reading. I'm just a bit of a bookworm, and these thoughts are my own, and they're no offense to the author or anyone who actually loves the book. In my opinion, it just lacked a lot of depth. The book we are talking about is Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors. It's a Sunday Times bestseller. I don't know originally where I saw this book. I know it popped off on TikTok. I didn't realize it popped off on TikTok. I just saw it when I saw it when I was at Kmart, which is like New Zealand version of Target, I think. But I saw it there and I was like, "Yup, you're coming home with me." It's a book about four sisters, one that had died. It's about sisterhood, relationships, navigating grief, navigating addiction, families being complicated, in a nice word, that kind of stuff. We have four main characters. We've got Avery. She is the eldest. We have Bonnie, we have Lucky, and we have Nikki. She's the youngest, and she is the one that died. It is not a spoiler alert because it says on the blurb that she died. Spoilers are coming now. So if you want to read the book, go read it and then come back, I guess. Basically, I've read a lot of books that have mental illness and addiction in it. Like, for instance, my bookshelf is up here. For instance, Julie Soto and Catherine Glasgow are really... Oh, shit. Oh, there we go. Are really good at telling... describing addiction and how it can mess up relationships or mess up your sense of self, and they really go into depth about everything. This book is just lacking a lot of depth. There's a couple of storylines that are brought into the book, and they're kind of like mentioned, and like, for instance, Avery, she's a kleptomaniac, which I'm pretty sure means, I could be just saying the wrong thing, but I'm pretty sure it means that she's addicted to stealing shit. That's kind of introduced. And like she steals throughout the book, and there's no like deeper meaning to it. It's just like a little, oh, there's that also. And she also struggled with addiction, and she went to rehab. That's mentioned a couple times, but never like in depth, which I get it. This, like, the plot line of the book is the three sisters go back to the place that they grew up because their mum is selling it, and they're like going through Nikki's things, the youngest that died, and going through all the shit that they want to keep. That's this plot line. But they aren't exactly in contact, so they all have their own storylines going on. I'm just saying, for Avery, the eldest, the stealing plotline and her going to rehab isn't, you would think it would be like a major plotline for her character. And it is. It comes up in other ways during the story. While we're on Avery, she's gay. She's married to a woman. Hell yes. I was like, oh my god, queer love, yay. She cheats on her wife with a man. And like, I think she was emotionally cheating for a while. And, you know, lying and all this kind of shit. Even the wife brings that up. It's not like the actual moment that kills a relationship. It's all the previous leading up to it that is like the final blow is when it all comes out. But there's a lot leading up to it. But there's like there's a thing where she's having sex with this man, and she's like, I've never felt this like this feeling before, and it's just not. It doesn't have any depth to it. Like, one, it's kind of. I'm not a lesbian. I'm bisexual, so I don't know the full extent of how a lesbian would feel reading this. But it just comes off a little lesbophobic. Is that the word? Homophobic? Let's just go homophobic. Um, it's just like, I don't know anything about the author except that she's a woman and she's white. So if I read this book without knowing that it was written by a woman, I would assume it was written by a man, which is like the pinnacle of me saying it's shit. Whenever a book is written by a man, there's a lot of misconceptions and just like gross narratives. And I'm not saying all men, I'm just saying the books that I have read where it's a male author, there is usually problematic text. If you heard my stomach, sorry about that. I'm hungry. And then that's Avery. Avery, it's like, all I'm saying is I don't think the cheating plot should have happened. You could have easily blown up her marriage in any other way. For instance, Avery doesn't want a kid, her wife wants a kid. Her wife brings up the fact that maybe they should start trying, maybe they should see, like, she froze her eggs a long time ago, maybe we should actually put an effort into that. She brings it up, Avery changed the subject. We could blow that marriage up with that. There's no point of the cheating. It doesn't make sense. It just feels a little like unnecessary, especially because she sleeps with him and then nothing happens. Like, they don't get together. She never talks to him again. She talks to the wife again, which is a bizarre plot twist. Or they could have gone into the situation of how they met. Her wife is a therapist and Avery was her client. You could have explored that. Like, there could have been some kind of like, obviously there was a line that crossed. It happened. It happens in real life. There could have been something like a callback to that. Like, that could have blown up the marriage. Or Avery, with the book being grieving her sister's death, that could have blown up the marriage. Just like a lot of the cheating just seems very unnecessary and like a, how do I put this? Like just like a plot line. Just doesn't make sense. But that's my takes on Avery. I didn't really like Avery as a person either, but she's the elder sister, so she was kind of parentified because her mum didn't give a shit. Her mum never wanted kids, and her mum took it out on the children because that's healthy. That's so healthy. Then we get Bonnie. Bonnie, I love. Bonnie deserved better. Bonnie is a boxer. She was a boxer. She's now a bouncer. She lost a match and she kind of disappeared off the face of the planet and went somewhere else, and she was bouncing for this club, yeah. But black backstory of her is she's a bouncer. Her addiction is pain. Her addiction is exercise. She was the one that actually found her sister, and she carries a lot of guilt at the fact that she kind of ignored her sister when she was in pain, or her sister wanted pain meds and asked her sister, like, can you get some from the gym? And she was like, no, because she didn't think it was a good idea. So she carries all that guilt, and she has to go to the apartment where she found her to go through Nikki's stuff. She's a badass bitch, and she's in love with a guy, like her trainer. It's a whole plot line. Like, I would read a story about Bonnie on her own. basically in the book, the way it's written is each chapter is each one of the girls. It's a little confusing to get used to at the top, because that's not. No, I don't really read books like that. But anyway, I digress. Bonnie deals with a lot of grief. I think she is a perfect character. Like in this book, she is perfectly written out. I think like she gets a love story, she has a baby, she has all this trauma with finding her sister, if dealing with the guilt, wanting to get back into boxing, but being scared of it because during her last match she didn't put up much of a fight and was being pummeled, and her coach, the guy she's in love with, threw in the white towels and to say, I give up. So she's got emotions surrounding that, and she is one of the wellest put together characters in the book. I have no qualms about her. She deserves everything. It felt very, I think she's the middle sister, so it felt very like she was like emotionally placating everyone while also trying to get out of the drama, but also being that safe space for her sisters. Like, for example, with Lucky, she's the next sister. She is the youngest, apart from Nikki, who is a model in Paris, who parties a lot. She's again a well thought out character, in my opinion. Her and Bonnie, thick of thieves towards the end of the book. Lucky has blown up her life. She's obviously been partying and doing drugs and sleeping with random people and not making good life choices in the context of the book. So she goes and stays with Avery. Avery and her don't really get along as the eldest and the youngest dynamic. They didn't really have a lot of time growing up together. If you read the book, you get it. But Lucky goes to stay with Bonnie. Lucky goes through, Bonnie helps her out. Lucky goes through withdrawals. They have this kind of sister montage of being sisters again. They help each other out. There's pain. There's like the struggle of going through withdrawal and wanting to get a high again, but not doing that because her sister is stopping her from doing that. So there's like that clash, which is very well written and emotionally rough. I think that because when I started the book, I was like skimming the pages, like, where's the good shit? Get me to the good shit. And I kind of did that for the rest of the book as well. But when it was the Bonnie and Lucky chapters of them like being sisters and trying to get each other through these kind of hard times, it was very well written. And I was like, yes, this is what I needed. This is what we want. Very well done. Lucky, she does that. She gets clean. She gets healthy. Sisters, blah, blah, blah. By the end of the book, she's back in rehab, so we don't really know what happened. There's like a 10-year skip, which I fucking hate when books do that, but I digress. We go to Nikki, the youngest, the sister that died. She is... For someone that's supposed to, like, haunt the narrative, she doesn't really do much haunting. And I get it, like, it's about the sisters and how they deal with her death, and instead of her actually being present. But I don't know, it just feels a little, like, lackluster. Like you had a piece of gum, you chewed it for a second, and all the flavor went out, and now you're just stuck with, like, mushiness in your mouth, which is not what you want. I feel like Nikki could have been a larger character in the book. Obviously, she's dead, but you can still be a character in the book, and you can still have this overwhelming presence in the book. You can still haunt the narrative in the way that makes someone feel alive without it being. Do you guys get what I mean? It's she can still be a pivotal character in the book without it feeling like she's not even there. Which I know she's not even there because she's dead, but she can still haunt the narrative in a way that everyone feels her without it just being a word. Nikki, I feel like Nikki, girl, you deserved better. Nikki was struggling with endometriosis her whole life. Doctors didn't know what to do with her. She would be in the waiting room, just like I highlighted it actually. That's how you know. As you guys know, I struggle with CPS/ME, so I am in pain 24/7. I'm just trying to find the page that I highlighted. Excuse me. And this is kind of like a little tidbit of what it's like. Look, I highlighted it. I do that often because it's therapeutic, but here we go. Let me get to a. Nikki had been suffering for years by the time she died. The problem with her pain was that it was invisible. Every wish she could give her crutches, some object that made it obvious to everyone around her, but she had learned now that most pain is private. Language grasped at but never caught it. Each time Nikki tried to find the right words, it seemed to change shape. Sometimes she said it was a dull, low ache, foreboding and inevitable, like the darkening of the sky before a storm. Sometimes it was hot electric bursting that shot and pinged through her, leaving her doubled over and gasping for air. Sometimes she said it felt like crashing waves gathering momentum and receding, her insides the beaten and unyielding shore. And then it was gone. She waited for it. Oh my god, I can't. And when it was gone, she waited for it, like a violator husband who is left in a rage but will inevitably return. Sometimes she said the waiting felt like the worst part of it all. Sorry guys, I can't read out loud. My brain function does not allow that, but that is, like, I've read that and I was like, oh my god, that's what I feel like. So, okay, Coco, you did that. I see you. But the rest of the book, but basically, Nikki, they said we could remove your uterus and the pain would be better. But her plot arc, Nikki wanted to have children, so she held out. And then when the pain got bad, on the night that she died, she got some pills off the street and they were laced with fentanyl, so she overdosed. That was her plotline. Her most famous quote is, I love you too without the two, because love is just love. I wonder if I can find it. Speed this and post, Jade. Oh my god, Jade, who is that? I mean, speed this and post, Raven. Here it is. Is this right? No, it's not. Oh my god. Here it is. Well, I just love you, she said. That's why I'm pushing you. I know, said Bonnie. I love you too, without the two. It was what Nikki used to say to them. Not two, just love. Geez, that took a while, didn't it? my final thoughts. I said this to my mum because she is whenever I read a book, I'm like, here are my thoughts. It was a 2 out of 5. I don't know, chat. It was just lackluster for something that is so pretty as the title, as the front. I was like, oh my god, this is going to be great. It was not. And considering how many people upvoted it on TikTok and like on the actual, on the back of the cover, like, you know how authors have little other authors comment on their books. I was hoping for a much more deep dive, but it was not. Like I said before, other authors have done better. I will write their names here. I have read much better books. Again, I am not like some scholastic, super smart human. I'm just a girl who likes to read, and those are my thoughts about the book. But if you want to read it, go ahead. I mean, everyone has a different opinion of things. If you loved it, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. There was also a comment about Israel. That kind of shit the bed real quick. I was like, I don't want to read this anymore. Because we do not stand that in our house. We're pro-Palestine in this house. Anyway, those are my thoughts. It will be added to the books. Well, actually, it will stay on my shelf because I like to throw things. I highlighted a few things. I will cut them out of the book and paste them somewhere. I don't know. They will not be added to my book that I have down here. There's a stack of books down here that I need to put into a free library because either I couldn't get into them or they were crap. So look out for those. Anyway, this has been fun. This is my first book review. Hope you enjoyed it. Signing out. I'm Raven. Thanks for being here. Love you. Bye.